After all that you have been through, and all that or to sacrifice, what you do next, what shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, I was freed of the tyranny of the God King. To atone for my sins in this world, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly. I would tell the story of the Godwoken to anyone who would listen. The story of the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known. The heroes who chose not to close the veil.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Get an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time. I've a lot of planning to do, now that there's not to be a new divinity.
She drums her fingers testily on her crossed arms.
All that work, all that effort, tossed into the gutter like a malformed child. Has it taken you this long to figure that out? Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Demonic guile. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Perhaps our paths until we find out.
You escaped an abominable prison and confronted the king of all gods only for now that I am clear of mind and free of intruders. Once I've come to a... Until we meet again, Prince.
I've got to admit, I'm all about returning the power to the people, but I never could have seen this one coming.
He eyes you slyly, but consents to one final tale.
The beast of the sea rose triumphant, guiding his fellow Godwoken from an island prison to a final hurrah. He boarded the Lady Vengeance. Now, inexplicably whole due to magic a beast could never understand, and returned to his homeland. Then began the process of rebuilding, restoring trust, handing out hope, serving his people. Huh. Guess that one doesn't really end with a bang. But that's alright. You know, it's a work in progress. Hey, up there!
A world full of sorcerers. That's quite a thing. But don't worry, darling. You're still special to me. Reform my way.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, "mine." But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun.
They say cats have 9 lives. Truth is, we have many more than that.
Hey there, Chief. So, a world full of sorcerers. What do you make of it? I suppose that's a death sentence for Fort Joy. What a terrible shame. Though I guess it wasn't all bad. I met you after all. And look at everything we've done. I don't know if anyone's free of anything, once and for all. But I'm bloody thrilled to be here now. Just me, myself, and you, of course. Get loot, play loot, get loot, get glad. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? I won't soon forget this madness, or you either.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken. Suddenly, it's gone again.
See you around.
Source of all, eh? A bold move, I'll grant you that. I didn't think anyone considered the little people anymore. I don't know yet. Perhaps peace will reign and all will be equal. Or perhaps you've bestowed great power on undeserving children and turned them loose on each other. Time will tell, I'm sure. That is the question, isn't it? No, of course you wouldn't. I intend to seek them out. This Gustafjan seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world, when there's another for the taking? If you gave everyone in the world an equal share of gold, do you believe all theft would cease? No, of course not. Just something to consider.
Losa sings to herself, a small smile about her lips.
Well, well, Quercus. Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order. What? No, you should be thanked. You're welcome, by the way. Honestly, Quercus, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this God King and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to save, so...
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling the air with a sound.
Ah, quackers! Please, have a little decorum. This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the Great Acorn, but the Knights of Dre, they summoned the Great Acorn. That is the future Quercus and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy to have a friend. The honor is all mine. I pray we will not need to call on you, but I am grateful for the offer. I never thought I would be proud. Ow! Quacker! I do not know what comes next. Come, Quercus.
The cat curls up and snuggles into... The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg.
I'm buzzing. I don't know how else to describe it. But what you did, I want to say it was brave. Maybe it was, but it wasn't right.
Gareth is still. For a moment his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then present once more, though hardly animated.
The people of Rivellon will call you their savior. The power is in them, in all of them. And there will come a time when they rebel, and the price will be high. A meaningless promise. You've blessed them and cursed them with a single choice. You didn't reveal your altruism. You revealed your greed. Power will be shared among the evil and the good, the light and the dark, the sky and the earth. They will enjoy equal source light, yes, but they will not be equal. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucia, so I find out, on my own away from the storm that surely comes. The God King is defeated, but the door to the void is open, left there by the man I once thought would be divine.
Gareth greets you in thoughtful silence.
So, here we are, my darling. Sorcerers like everyone else in the realm. A bit boring to be so unexceptional all of a sudden, isn't it? Then again, I suppose they can't fit all of us in Fort Joy. It does, doesn't it? Good times, though. We've come to the brink and back again so many times on this adventure. I only hope what awaits the world is something more equitable. Bit more sun, bit less rain. Even though I love the rain, but I won't forget what we share. We love each other after.
A kiss, and oh, how...
Let's do good. Both.
Sabine cups your cheek in her hand, and in her soft cat's eyes, you can read the prospect of tender days to come.
I suppose it's time for me to explore a new...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I cannot say whether the future brings peace or pain, but I will always be an ally to those that carry swords. I am at the ready. She is full. I feel.
You look out to the endless, and with a start, you realize the world was at peace, at least for now. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as two factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the Scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again." Only Sabine could bring the elves together once more. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade, and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with the rising chaos, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. With more undead than ever before, she founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering them shelter from hatred and fear. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the color of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of the source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. The mother would have to choose sides. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, this time as a lawmaker. After a very public blunder, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. Losa returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as Rivellon's premier musician. Dark moods would at times overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins. After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, or to what shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the source to close the veil to the void, the world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free, and so were the others. The Godwoken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the Godwoken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god. In the end, I'm not totally convinced it was worth my while to restore your consciousness, seeing what you've done with it so far. Where did I go wrong? Ugh. I'd been counting on sacrificing my health and happiness for a future god, you know, not a silent monk in waiting. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all.
She looks you up and...
I guess this will have to take a moment, why don't you? Relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know. Perhaps I'll until we find out. If you'll excuse me, darling.
Without source to shield it, the barriers between Nemesis and Rivellon weaken. The void may be kept at bay, but the plane of demons is not. Look away from the past and into...
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above, not below.
No more source, no more powers. Don't worry, darling. I reform my ways.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then her mouth meets yours.
Something to remember me by. Who knows? But a girl needs...
Beast brushes detritus from his beard, sand, skin, and whatever...
I never thought I'd be smelling the sea breeze again. Figured we'd all be shuffling around as silent monks right now, so the air seems extra sweet, if you get what I'm saying. More Malady magicalness, I'm guessing.
He eyes you slyly.
The beast of the sea then began the process of rebirth. Guess that one doesn't really end with a bang. But that's all right. You know it. Hey, up there!
You are a very, very, very lucky person. If Malady hadn't restored us, I'd be a drooling monstrosity, but a vengeful one. The realm is a lot more robust than some people give it credit for. It's probably survived much more than we'll ever even know.
I don't know if anyone's... but I'm bloody thrilled to be here.
Get loot? So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? Aw, where's the fun in that?
As she turns from you, suddenly it's gone again.
See you around.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. But I must admit, that was rather noble of you. A world without source is one that will need individuals of wit and intellect. A sharp mind is the only magic now. I believe I shall enjoy this new world very much. That is the question, isn't it? No, of course I intend to seek them out. I do believe your actions amount to the first truly selfless act that I've ever witnessed in my time. Bravo.
Well, well, Quirkers. Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks. What? You're welcome. Honestly, Quirkers, some creatures have...
A huge grin.
Of course, have...
The cat moves forward.
Ah, Quirkers! Please, have a little decorum. This battle is won, my friend. They summoned the... That is the future Quirkers and I have ahead of us. We... And a well-deserved... I never thought I would be... Ow! I do not... Come, Quirkers.
The cat curls up. The purging that once silenced you remains on your mind as you approach Gareth. You are grateful for Malady's miraculous touch. Without it, there would be no you.
Amazing I'm still here. That you're here. And that you might still speak. That Lucian...
Aside from a single blink, Gareth stands remarkably still.
Time. Time has a way of changing someone. Lucian did not start as the man he became. Nor is the man I am now the same as him that once served at the side of a divine. Lucian doesn't need me. And believe me when I say, I no longer need him. I only did what I was meant to do. I don't deserve thanks. I gave only the bare minimum, and still I strayed quite far.
Gareth shakes his head vigorously in response to his own emotions.
Self-pity is as dangerous as any man I have battled, Alexander included. In this new world, this world without the seven gods, it's a foe I plan to defeat for good. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just so I find out.
The purging that once silenced you remains on your mind.
Amazing, I'm still here.
Darling, you're here, and I'm here. If just barely. Thank the gods, or whomever, for Malady. One can hardly get to the truth without one's tongue, after all.
The shadow of a smile passes over her lips.
I'm glad too. But I won't forget what we love each other.
A kiss.
Let's do good. Both of us. We may as well serve as examples to the god we call our friend.
I suppose it's time for me to explore a new form of eternity.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. I feel better than new. I will always be an ally. I am at the ready.
You look out to the end, and with a start, you realize... At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. Justinia returns to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The Black Pit took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade, and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled down on the farm. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. She presumed she had them in thrall. The truth was, they just liked her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more. He always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or, if he did, he never said a word. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more, amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Only the new mother kept Sahala's plans for revenge from fruition. But the mother had a secret weapon. Tova, Sahala's mother, keeps Sahala's anger at bay. Lucian returned as Divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, not as a rebel, but as a lawmaker. Merciful and wise, he led the dwarves into an age of prosperity. His grave looks out over the sea. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. Losa returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as Rivellon's premier musician. Dark moods would at times overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more kin among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins. A cloud of purest black breaks through. The chill of death, then its very visage, the pale skull at the heart of the void. This is the God King himself.
Not one! There is not one who will choose divinity. What fools! They have power within their grasps, but they fail to take it. These races truly are inferior. Victory is mine! My people! The world is ours once more. The reign of thieves is at an end. These so-called races will be our slaves and our food stock. For we are the truth. We are the real. We are eternal!
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the God-woken. The Eternals reclaimed the world. Dwarves, elves, lizards, and humans all became slaves, ruled over by the Sworn and the Eternals. The God King had defeated the Seven and returned from the Void. Relics of the old world remained, but in time they crumbled and fell, like the memories of the peoples who had built them, lost to time like sand in the wind. As for me, I may have been freed from the Covenant, but the God King never forgot my failure. Each day may be the day that I will be finally punished, that I may finally pay for my sins.
Malady stands tall and proud.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. Get an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time. It isn't going to be easy cleaning up this mess you've made. It might not even be possible. I don't know how I could have been so wrong about you. I'm never wrong.
A cruel smile spreads across her lips.
Tell your God King he'll have to send much more than you to silence me. Until we meet again, all the best to you. Don't you have somewhere else to be?
What a pity. The stories that arise from the Rivellonian rabble will tell not of a savior, but of a sinner.
Beast brushes detritus from his beard, sand, skin, and whatever else might have accumulated there. He doesn't acknowledge you as you approach. He only sings, slowly, achingly, sadly.
You hear the wild beast just say, "Your cupboard."
He pauses, then continues to hum.
After all I had to do to free myself of the God King, you just gave in to him? You've ruined everything. I want you to know that. Now get out of my sight.
Losa spits at your feet and stares at you with a curled lip.
I didn't escape one demon to serve another. You haven't seen the last of me, but you should wish you had.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes dark. Suddenly, it's gone again. She winks.
See you around.
Losa glares as you pass, her mouth set to a frown. Almira glares at you with a degree of venom that you've never seen from her or anyone else before.
Do you know what you've done? You've signed my death warrant, fool. The God King won't stand to the likes of me in this world. Not after I abandoned his cause.
I am nobody's tool. You never really knew me at all, did you?
No. This world is one of your making, and it'll be yours to suffer in. I have prospects in other realms. You've sacrificed the world, you cretin. And for what? The favor of the God King? It won't last. He'll see you in the same light that he does me sooner or later.
All of this, Quercus, all of our struggle to save their stupid, bloody giant races, and this fool lets this God King enslave the world! We didn't rescue your barren land from the great acorn to see it turned over to someone even worse than your damned people! I know, Quercus. I'm disappointed too. I thought we had found a true friend, but no. Come, we've lost our shield, but we still have each other.
Quercus hisses at you, lashing out with a claw. Silora ignores you, but gently pats his cat. Gareth bows as you near, but seems either unable or unwilling to speak.
The Eternals.
Gareth is still. For a moment his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then present once more, though he speaks without a trace of emotion.
I eagerly await what comes.
Gareth stares blank. Sabine twirls her needle, her face set in a defiant scowl.
Well, you were right in that regard, at least.
She turns away, still toying with the needle. She has no more words to offer you. She stares out over the sparkling sea, a contemptuous sneer upon her lips.
They say...
Where to go first? What to see? It seems the world is my shellfish. Where to go first?
I await but your word, Master. As I was called to be, I am yours to command. My will is of no consequence, even as we sail into darkness. And so, as I must, I say, I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift. A shame I must be given life anew, to know the pain ahead. A pain that will endure.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the... And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. And what of you? You were the key to it all. You brought the Eternals back to the world and saw the God King enslave the thieves. You set right the original wrong. And the seven were punished for their transgression. Are you proud of all you achieved? Or are you ashamed of your sins?
Prince, Godwogan, Dallas told me about your divine...
The divine youth.
What a
Lucian frown.
I underestimate.
Respect?
Lucian's get.
Lucian?
Yes.
Dallas not. A skull.
I am.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
That will not do.
The Atiran is...
The plan is...
We have made so many sacrifices.
Decide.
There is no other... We only lack yours.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility.
You'll be a hero.
Don't let them do this to us.
Us? No, never.
Good.
Yes, very good.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath Vredeman's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallas flicks her wrist. And nothing happens.
Oh, Dallas. Sweet, simple Dallas.
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon, and don't look so surprised, as if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Me! Yes, I am the one true king of the Source. He who shall be god of the Source. It is time for my divinity! Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallas? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this. It was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him now.
Too late, you mouldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! You dare interrupt Brachus Rex? How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? Ha! You were the fetid dirt on my boot. You are nothing at all. I am the Source King. I shall rule. The God King hears my call. He sends a come to your father. Come to the Source King.
I'll yield to none.
Brachus Rex, the Source King of Legend, lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis, badly weakened, looks to you.
The future of all that is depends on you.
And you alone.
I was wrong. About power, I mean. I was always kidding myself that I could only help my people if I were free. Lead them by example, you know. Thing is, I can never be free. So I must choose the Dwarven people's liberty in exchange for my own.
I know you'll have my back when I return to them, just like I've got yours.
Beast replies with a nod. There's no denying the glint in his eye. Whatever the future holds, he is game for it.
This is it. I can hardly believe it.
She casts her gaze.
After everything we've been through, Chief, you need to ascend. There's no one I would trust with this, and I know you'll do it with style. Hell, I could have told you that. You'll do great. By me and by my whole realm. I don't doubt that for a second. Now go on, shoo. You've got business.
Listen, this is it. Again. And I want you to know I'm not putting up a fight, not against you. My revels are now ended. Yours are about... I've had my vengeance. And then, when you told me you loved me, all of me awoke. All I want now is for this to end, and long, long after. I know there will. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready. You think back on your journey here. You think of the Magisters. You think of how the Eternals You look at the source around. You think of what you could do. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed. It's time to choose your fate. Shall you be divine? After all that you have, or to what you do, what shall you do with divinity?